And I just want to keep myself over on the side because you don't need all of me. And here we go. So this is section 12, lesson 12. I thought we were doing that this morning, but we did 11. And Julia and her dad, Julia really figured out what Mac was doing. She figured out that Mac had all these different pieces of paper, and it was a picture, and it was a message. And she convinced her dad to take all the pieces, get the ladder, and they're going to cover over the billboard. So they cover over the billboard, for the circus, for the big top, and Mac gets to work, and Mac flips out. And he even messed up the cotton candy machine, right? So, first chapter today is called Phone Call. Mac is kicking a trash can across the food court when the phone rings. He answers it, red-faced and sweating. "What the?" he demands. He glares at me. "I don't know what you're," he starts to say, but then he stops to listen. "Who? Julia, who?" he asks. "Oh, sure, George's kid. She's the one who called you?" I hear some more talking. With the phone to his ear, Matt comes closer to my cage, eyeing me suspiciously. Yeah, he says. "He paints, sure. We've been selling his art for quite a while now." There is another long pause. "Yeah, absolutely, it was my idea." Mac nods. A smile starts at the corners of his mouth. "Photos? No problem. You want to see him in action? Come on down. Have a look. We're open 365 days a year. Can't miss us. We're right off I-95. Mac picks up the overturned trash can. "Yeah, I think we'll be adding more pictures. It's what do you call it? A work in progress." When the call is done, Mac shakes his head. "Impossible," he says. An hour later, a man with a camera comes to take my picture. He is from the local paper, the one Julia called. "How about you take one of me with the elephant?" Mac suggests. He drapes his arm around Ruby's back, grinning as the camera clicks. "Perfect," the man says. "Perfect," Mac agrees. There's the picture. Oh, my screen went red. I don't know why. And there's the picture. Something went out of my camera. Oh, there we go. Next chapter. A star again. A photo of my billboard is in the newspaper. Mac tapes the story onto my window. Each day, more curious people arrive. They park in front of the billboard. They point and shake their heads. They take photos. Then they come into the mall and buy my paintings. While visitors watch, I dip my hands in fresh buckets of paint. I make pictures for the gift shop and pictures to add to the billboard. Trees with birds, a newborn elephant with glittering black eyes, a squirrel, a bluebird, a worm. I even paint Bob so he can be on the billboard too. I can tell he likes the picture, although he says I didn't quite capture his distinguished nose. Every afternoon, Mac and George add my new pictures to the billboard. People slow their cars while they work. Drivers honk and wave. My gift shop pictures now cost $65 with a frame. A distinguished nose, it's kind of a fancy nose for people. Distinguished is a word where someone is very well respected. They don't always have to be well educated, but a prominent person, a fancy person, important person. The ape artist. I have new names. People call me the ape artist, the primate Picasso. I have visitors from morning till night, and so does Ruby. But nothing's changed for her. Every day at 2, 4, and 7, Ruby plods through the sawdust with Snickers on her back. Every night she has bad dreams. Bob, I say, after I've soothed Ruby to sleep with a story, my idea isn't working. Bob opens an eye. Be patient. I'm tired of being patient, I say. So plods means Ruby's kind of like going real slow or heavy. Your feet are really heavy. She still has to work every day. So, the whole point of Ivan trying to change the situation didn't necessarily work. Interview. This evening, a man and woman came to interview Mac and also George and Julia. The man has a large and heavy camera perched on his shoulder. Perched would be like a bird on your shoulder, perches on a shoulder. He films me as I make my pictures. He films Ruby in her cage with her foot roped to the bolt in the floor. Mind if I take a look around? He asks. Mac waves a hand. Be my guest! While Mac and the woman talk, the cameraman walks through them all. He pans his camera right and left, up and down. When his eyes fall on the claw stick, he stops. He trains his camera on the gleaming blade. Then he moves on. Ooh, so this is like a TV camera or something. So, it's a big point. Story. The early years. Mac turns on the TV. We are on the early news at 5 o'clock. Bob says, don't let it go to my head. There we all are. Mac, Ruby, me, George and Julia, the billboard, the mall, the ring, and the claw stick. Signs on sticks. In the morning, several people gather in the parking lot. They're carrying signs on sticks. The signs have words and pictures on them. One has a drawing of a gorilla cradling a baby elephant. I wish I could read. So what do you think those signs say? Right? Oh, protesters. Something we have seen a lot of lately. More people with signs come today. They want Ruby to be free. Some of them even want Mac to shut down the mall. Here's the signs. Free for Ruby. Animals need love. Oh, there's Ruby. That's the one he said there's a gorilla cradling an elephant, like hugging. Elephants are people too. Ivan and Ruby. This one says love Ruby. We love animals. In the evening, George and Mac talk about them. Mac says they're protesting the wrong guy. He says they're going to ruin everything. He says, thanks for nothing, George. Mac stomps off. George, holding his mop, watches him leave. He rubs his eyes. He looks worried. Dad, Julia says, looking up from her homework. You know what my favorite sign was? George asks. Which one? The one that said, elephants are people too. George gives her a tired smile. He goes back to work. His mop moves across the empty food court like a giant brush, painting a picture no one will ever see. So those people came to protest because they didn't like what was happening. Their beliefs, their feelings, are that Ruby and Ivan are animals and they belong in the wild. And Mac doesn't have them in the wild. And it's not illegal to do what he's doing, but that's what he has chosen to do, and that's how he's making money off of those animals. So those protesters absolutely did a peaceful protest, and they were trying to get their point across. And Mac doesn't like it because if they get their point across, He's got to shut everything down. Check marks. A tall man with a clipboard and pencil comes to visit. He says he is here to inspect the property. He doesn't say much more, but he makes many check marks on his paper. He looks at my floor. Check. He examines Ruby's hay. Check. His eyes are water bowls. Check. Mac watches him, scowling. Bob is outside, hiding near the dumpster. He does not want to be a check mark. Remember, Bob doesn't even belong as a part of the zoo. Free Ruby. Every day there are more protesters and cameras with bright lights. Sometimes the people carrying signs shout, "Free Ruby! Free Ruby!" "Ivan," right, Ruby asks, "why are those people yelling my name? Are they mad at me?" "They're mad," I'd say, "but not at you." A week later, the inspecting man comes back with a friend, a woman with smart, dark eyes like my mother's. She has a white coat on. She smells like lobia blossoms. Her hair is thick and brown, the color of a rotten branch teeming with luscious ants. She watches me for a long time. Then she watches Ruby. She talks to the man. They both talk to Mac. The man gives Mac a sheet of paper. Mac covers his face. He goes to his office and slams the door. That is the end of that chapter. Okay, and I'm interested to see what a lobia blossom looks like. Okay, so before we close out and end here, okay, I'm going to get the screen. Oh, there we go. We're going to look up a lobia blossom. Lobelia, what could be. You know me, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. My computer looks a little slow. But so there was a lot that happened in there. And you know Mac, he is going to get mad because he wants to make money. So most likely the person that was there was an inspector. When you have a business, a restaurant, a store, a circus, there are things that you have to do. There are codes that you have to follow. So Mac, the check markers, probably is there food for them? Is there ample space for them to exercise? Things like that. So what we want to look under is LOBELIABLOSSONS. Okay, and let's look at images, right? Ooh. Okay, ooh, so it looks like most of them are purple. Okay, so he said the hair, I don't know, the hair looked like that with ants, right? Okay, so they're kind of pretty. So we'll have to continue to find out. We're really getting through this book, guys, because lesson 13, I'll have lesson 13 for Friday, I promise, because I'm getting much better at this computer stuff. And after that, we have not too many more lessons, to be honest. There's lots more chapters, but the last lesson that we have is lesson 15, I think. Yeah, lesson 15. Oh. Lesson 15. So we're at 12, 13, tomorrow, 14, 15. We're going to finish this book. And you have an assignment. I love assignments. Okay. Have a great night.